Welcome to today's Talk with the Tiger podcast, where we like to get to know our student athletes here at Fort Hays State University. I'm Jaxson Webb, and I thank you all for listening. Today, we have a volleyballer that comes to Hays from the beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado, where she graduated from Rampart High School. Go Rams. In high school, she was a three-sport athlete with track, swim, and volleyball. In her freshman year on the volleyball court, she appeared in 21 matches and made 6 starts for Coach Jessica Wood-Atkins. She also made it through the year with a perfect 4.0 GPA. Her sophomore season wasn't the typical season on the volleyball court, as it was canceled due to COVID-19, but her and her team played a few exhibition games to keep in the swing of things. In her free time, this Tiger enjoys watching TV, hanging out with her friends, and cleaning. Today's special guest is junior middle hitter for the Fort Hays State volleyball team, Emily Ellis.
Hello.
Emily, you're one of the many Fort Hays Staters that comes to Hays from Colorado. And for those people that haven't been able to enjoy the mountain lifestyle like you have, can you tell them what it's like being from Colorado?
Of course. So I live in Colorado Springs, which is at the base of Pikes Peak. So the view is definitely much different than here in Hays, Kansas. But I love the mountains. I love hiking, anything, honestly, that the mountains. Skiing is probably my favorite. Winter sports just in general are really fun. I did snowboarding for a bit, but skiing has my heart for sure. And then during the summer, I've done quite a few 14ers. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the altitude, especially now that I live in Kansas most of the year. It's a little hard to go back and forth, but I really enjoy living in Colorado for sure. And I would definitely say I want to go back there when I'm older.
That's awesome. And in Colorado, there's so many amazing sights to see and so many places to travel to. Out of the towns that you've been to around Colorado, what would you say are your favorite other than the Springs?
I would say I love Buena Vista, which not a lot of people know or heard about, but I found a love for river surfing in Buena Vista. It sounds a little weird, but you're basically surfing on the rapids that the river creates. So it's a continuous wave, and you can just literally stay up for as long as you want. And I really love that. And I do that every summer with my brothers. So in that, we found the best wave in Buena Vista, and our family actually has a condo there. So we are able to go out there a lot. It's also really close to the mountains, so we're able to go out there during the winter too. It's about a 30-minute drive from Monarch Mountain, which I really like to go to. And it's just a really pretty place. There's a lot of prisons there, which sounds weird, just because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it's definitely surrounded by a bunch of mountains. It's actually surrounded by like the big 14ers like Princeton, Harvard and Yale. And those are all in the scenery of Buena Vista, and it's absolutely beautiful.
That sounds amazing. We'll talk about your high school sports background just a little bit. You come to Fort Hays and you play volleyball, but in high school it wasn't just volleyball that you played. You also ran track and swam. Can you tell us how it was competing in both track and swimming?
Yeah, of course. My parents always encouraged me to do multiple athletics just because I was just genuinely athletic, and my brothers did a lot of sports. So I found swimming. Not really sure how I came upon that one. I just kind of tried out, and I picked it up really fast. In swimming, I was known for doing the 50 free. That was my best event. That's what I went to state in. My junior and senior year, we won state, which was really incredible. Rampart hadn't won state in swimming for a long time, so that was a huge deal for us. But I got to swim with some incredible athletes on our swim team. It was definitely life-changing. Swimming is an extremely hard sport. I definitely think it's the hardest thing I've done. I eat a lot of food, you burn a lot of calories, drink lots of water. But I think I loved doing swimming just because it wasn't a high impact sport. So I felt like it gave me time for my body to readjust, reset. My joints kind of got a break from just jumping consistently with volleyball. That's kind of why I stuck with swim. I just really enjoyed the atmosphere of it. And then track, I was mainly a high jumper. I did long and triple my freshman year, and then I fractured my fibula my sophomore year. So that kind of kicked me out of triple jump. It was just too much on my legs.
Ouch.
So I kind of stuck to high jump, which I absolutely adored. We had a great high jumps coach. My freshman year, I got to jump with a senior who was going to University of Nebraska. And so I got a lot of like good, I was able to learn a lot from them, which was really neat. And I just felt like that was just so different from any sport I'd done, because high jump, just out of all the track events, I think is just one of the most random. Honestly, you're just jumping over a bar backwards. But I really enjoyed getting the like cardio aspect of track, kind of like stretching my legs out, because you're so confined on a volleyball court. It was so nice to be out in the open and just kind of go where I wanted, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. When you were in high school, did you think about taking one of those sports to the next level, or did you always know you wanted to play college volleyball?
I knew I always wanted to do college volleyball mainly, just because I loved volleyball the most out of all of them. I will say I don't think I ever thought about doing swimming past high school. It was a little too much for me and a little too draining. I have mad respect for anyone that does swimming in college, though. I will say that. Track I considered for sure. It was just really hard because my track season always overlapped with the height of my volleyball club season. And so I had to miss out on a lot of track events just because I always had practice or qualifier to go to. So if I had had full time on track, I would have definitely considered doing high jump in college. I really loved doing it. I loved the atmosphere of the track team and everything, and jumpers especially, woo-woo. But volleyball just always stuck with me. It has my heart for sure.
When you talk about, when it comes down to choosing a college, all college athletes have to go through that recruiting process. And when you came to Fort Hays, what were some of those things that stood out to you at the top of your list that made you ultimately come here?
I would say the biggest part for me was the community aspect of Hays. I had gone to schools that had a bigger campus, more students on campus, and just overall the city was bigger that it was in. But I loved the fact that Hays is such a small community, and everyone in Hays wants to support everyone. And so I just felt like it was so cool how like we have our boosters for the volleyball team that are at all of our games. They bring us goodies. I just think that is so special of like having a community support your athletics teams in general, which is really cool. And I love the small town. I love the small town, and I love the small campus size. It does sometimes feel like I'm in high school when there's like 12 kids in my class, but I love that so much. I love that my teacher knows who I am, knows my face. I just think that's really benefited me in my studies overall.
Since becoming a Tiger, have you had a few favorite moments that you can remember off the top of your head, whether it be on the court or off the court?
Oh, geez. I'll give you two. One on the court, one off the court.
Sounds good.
Oh, gosh. So my freshman year, I didn't play a lot in the beginning. And I think one of the biggest moments that, like, stands out in my mind the most is when I got my first block for Fort Hays. And I don't know why, like, as a middle blocker, blockering is so important. I just, like, I'll never forget that moment. Like, it was just such a genuine moment for me. And, like, I knew I was supposed to be here, and I knew I was good enough to play a college sport, which was really rewarding for me. So I would say on the court, it's that. And overall, just getting to know everyone on the team has been my favorite memory. Some of these people I'm going to know for the rest of my life, and I know that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in just a little bit and talk about your friends and your teammates. But right now we'll talk about school. Emily, you're in the nursing school right now. How's that been for you so far, and what are you hoping to do with your nursing degree when you finish?
Yes, so I started the nursing program this fall. They don't lie when they say it's definitely hard and time-consuming, but I've really enjoyed it. I've met some really good girls, which has actually been really nice because COVID interrupted a lot of my freshman and sophomore years. So being able to be in every single class this year face-to-face with people has been amazing. And I've gotten to meet so many new people outside of sports, which I really enjoy. And we especially spent a lot of time together studying, of course, but I really enjoyed getting to know them and meeting them overall. But in the future, so I've got 2 years of the program, so I'll graduate my senior year with my BSN RN. And after that, I'd probably like to move on to travel nursing. I love traveling. I always have. And there's a huge need for travel nurses at the moment. So that's kind of been a big thing on me. But obviously before that, I need to gain some experience. So probably head back home for a little bit and work at the local hospital near my house, and then hopefully graduate into travel nursing.
It sounds like a great plan. We'll jump over to volleyball now. Emily, you've been on the court since you stepped foot on campus, basically. You walked right in, and as a freshman, you saw playing time for Coach Jessica Wood-Atkins. Can you talk about how your freshman experience was on the court and coming into Fort Hays and playing right away?
So I would definitely say it was a huge difference from high school and club in general, because you come from a place where you're one of the top people there, because there's only a few people from your high school that usually go play college sports, and I was one of the lucky ones. And so I think it was a little eye-opening at first. I was not expecting as much hard work and effort, obviously. It's a lot different from high school. There's a lot more commitment to it. Practices are just longer, more intense, and you also have weights on top of that. And so I think in the beginning, it kind of hit me like a truck. I'm not going to lie. I had those days where I struggled and I really needed to call my parents every day, and they had to help me through it. But I think there was just one day where my attitude changed, and I was like, if I want to stay here and if I want to play on that court as a starter every time, then I got to work my butt off every day, come to practice. And so that's kind of when my mentality switched, and that's when I started fighting every day, whether it was in practice, weights, or in a game, to be on that court and stay on that court. And it's definitely shown through. And I think it was definitely hard my freshman year. I came in with a junior middle above me. But I felt like that also taught me so many things, just about the sport, about our conference, about my position. I feel like I did not know what a middle blocker was before I came to college.
That's perfect lead into my next question. I was going to ask you how you felt, how you've grown since your freshman year, and what things do you feel like you've gotten a whole lot better at, and what are you enjoying a little bit more about the game of volleyball since your freshman year?
I would say the biggest thing for me is it sounds weird, I haven't grown at all since I started here, but I feel bigger and taller on the court, and I think it's just my attitude, my mental state. I just feel so much more confident being on the court, which has made playing so much more exciting. And like when I came in my freshman year, it was almost like I was scared to get the ball. Like, well, I want to get a kill, but like I also don't want to mess up. And now I feel like I'm on that court and I'm like, give me the ball. I want the ball. And I think that was my attitude change that I needed. And especially, I think any college athlete needs that, is like, if you want to be on that court and if you want to win the game, you need to want every single point. And if it goes to you and if it doesn't go to you, then that's just how it goes. But I just think I just got so much more confident having these 2 years under my belt, especially now.
That's really good. And like you said, you have those years of experience under your belt. You're now in that upper class range as a junior. How has that been, kind of transferring from, just an underclassman, a freshman, a sophomore, to now you're a junior, you got experience, and you're now kind of a leader on this year's team? How does that feel to you, and what's being in that position of leadership like?
Well, it definitely is different for me. It doesn't feel real yet that I'm an upperclassman. Time flies for sure. I think the biggest change this semester has been one of our incoming freshmen was middle, because Morgan, who's my other junior middle with me, it's just been the two of us for the past year and a half. And so it's actually been really awesome having a freshman middle come in. And I think it's taught me a lot about my persona on the court of like, I need to be aware of like, I am now that junior middle that I saw as a freshman. And so I need to be the one leading and educating our underclassmen and just giving them pointers as much as possible and encouraging them to keep working at it.
Like you said, you have a freshman middle with you now, and you guys also have another good chunk of freshmen and new faces as well as transfers on this year's team. How has that been, kind of welcoming some more Tigers onto your guys' team this year? And can you tell us the identity of your new freshmen and your transfers?
Yeah, so we have 3 freshmen and, 2 transfers, I think. I love having the new team, to be honest. I know we changed a lot with faces last semester, and I think just COVID kind of got to a lot of people. It was just a hard time for everyone, but I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with my team this semester. Our freshmen and our transfers are absolutely amazing. They have such great attitudes, and they're all just really excited to be a Fort Hays Tiger, which I really love. And it makes me really excited just because there's not many of us left on the team that have been here since the beginning of their freshman year. And so I think we've kind of taken it upon us to kind of recreate this team for how we want it. And obviously we want it to be a well put together team. We want us all to get along, and we also want to be winning games and putting our hearts out on the court. And I think everyone that's come onto our team this year has done exactly that. They've put their all into the game, which is absolutely amazing.
That's good. You talk about your junior class that you have, the people that you get to play with and who you came to Fort Hays with. This class is really special, and you guys are very, very tight together. It seems like you guys have great chemistry, and it's time for you now that you get to hype them up and shout out your girls a little bit. So to your teammates and your best friends and your fellow junior classmates on the volleyball team, what would you say to them, and what would you tell us about them?
Well, I love every single one of my junior classmates. I love my entire team, but especially our juniors. We've been through a lot together, and I know we've got some new juniors on this team this fall, but they slide right into place with us. Everyone is extremely supportive of each other. We all want the best for each other in and out of sports. We look out for each other no matter what, which is awesome. Two of my closest friends, Micah and Morgan, I live with them, which has been really nice. Just being able to spend every day with them. We annoy the crap out of each other sometimes. But I think being so close with my junior class, especially, just brings us all together on the court too. Like, it's so nice being able to come in to practice and sometimes talk about things outside of practice because we get to catch up. And I just think it builds such a strong connection in the fact that we are all able to feel comfortable talking to each other. And I don't think any of us really feel out of place at all.
That's really great. It's always fun to watch you guys playing together and then also being friends off the court. It's really awesome, and it's really special to see your guys' relationship grow. Last but not least, we have to talk about the beautiful Gross Memorial Coliseum that you guys get to play in, and to the fans that come to your games and support you guys. If you have any message for them while they're listening, it's a great time to share it right now.
Well, like I said, one of the biggest reasons I came to Hays is for the community support, and I love seeing every single one of you guys out there. And I can't say it enough, but I appreciate the heck out of you guys, honestly. I love being able to come out every game day as a Tiger and represent this school for something more than just academics. And I feel so privileged to be able to do that, and I really appreciate you coming out to our games. And keep coming out. We've got more to come. Season's not over yet.
Thank you very much, Emily. That was Emily Ellis, the junior middle for Fort Hays State University volleyball. If you haven't seen her already yet, get out to Gross Memorial Coliseum and catch her and the rest of her Tigers on the court. There's still many games left to be played, but for the rest of the semester and the rest of the school year, we wish Emily Ellis and her Fort Hays State Tiger volleyball team the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been Talk with the Tiger podcast from Jaxson Webb and Emily Ellis. We'll catch you next time. And as always, go Tigers.